Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Scuttlebutt with Ivey's family Factotum. So yeah, once again, it's me and the kiddo. So Gladys and the teen had to go to the big city this morning for appointments, allergy shots. So, she actually had to do a scratch test this morning, Anika. So just to kind of see. So we already knew that she was allergic to like cat dander and like dog dander per se, right? Which she has a cat, we have dogs, but we didn't really know what else, other things she was allergic to. So she went and did like the little scratch test thing, and apparently she's also allergic to horses, which her girlfriend has, and then she's also allergic to a few different types of grasses, which basically the same thing as her mom. So, yeah. Gladys is basically allergic to the state of Arkansas. So, yeah, it is what it is. But no, I woke up this morning. I just haven't been sleeping that great, so I haven't really been getting up until like 9 o'clock. The whole time shift thing. Obviously, it takes me a little bit just to get used to. I've always been like that. Even in the Navy, there'd be times that I'd wake up late, get in trouble or whatnot, or just, yeah. So, second day in a row, I had to go out and feed the chickens because Gladys had to take off. Not my chore, but here to help, I guess. I don't like doing it. I have put that out. She knows it. I'm fine with doing all the land clearing and the building and just everything. But when it comes to the animal husbandry stuff of taking care of the animals and such, I don't want nothing to do with it. But yeah, sometimes you got to help when that help is needed. And even though I don't like doing it, I still go out and do it. She's like, but she did send me a text when she was telling me about all the stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to owe you because I need you to go out and feed all the chickens and the dogs and yada yada, the kid, everything again. I'm like, all right, well, for me, I am like a hamburger lover. That's like one of my favorite. I mean, obviously, I love Mexican food. Like, if I had to choose only one style of food, right, whether it be like Mexican or Italian or, all American or just whatever it is, right, I really have a tough time between all American and Mexican but if I had to choose only one, I would choose Mexican food. But just a nice big juicy burger, yeah, it's what being American is all about, right? So, so I told her, I was like, well, you might as well, because we have a place here locally in town that sells pretty good hamburgers. I do think there's a few other places a little further away that are a little bit better. But for what it is, and it's not no fast food place, it is a home grown, there's only one type place, right? And yeah, it's pretty good. And they also have the chive fries that sell out like crazy. I really wish that she would make more of them because we don't always get a chance to get those, and they're pretty dang good. So, well, this morning, I guess you're like, well, what are you doing? I'm in the kitchen. What are you doing? So I figured I need to go ahead. So right now we're getting roughly between 6 to 8 eggs every single day, and we don't eat that many eggs. So I like to have hard-boiled, like first thing in the morning. I don't always want to cook. I like having eggs and bacon in the morning, but I don't always want to cook. Gladys doesn't always want to cook either. I mean, she does on the weekends. On occasion, she will during the week. And then normally for lunch, lunch is always kind of like a eat if you want to type thing, or because normally it's only breakfast. Because our breakfast normally is like more of like a brunch for most folks. Like the timeline. So if we do have like a snack or a lunch or anything like that, it's not until like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we're eating dinner, by 6, because Yaya, she goes to bed at 8. Nick goes to bed at 9, and then we're in bed normally by 11 ish, and then so I need to hard boil some eggs. And with farm fresh eggs, I've been following the 10-5-10 method. I get them to turn out okay. Gladys tries to do it, and they still turn out a mess. So I figured I'd bring y'all along while I'm doing this. And got us some. I'm gonna try to do 2 dozen because I have it available. But there we go. We got some farm fresh eggs right here from our own chickens. So I got water boiling, and if you don't know anything about the 10-5-10 method, that's actually to where you want to boil water, and then you put your eggs in there. Now that water is going to stop boiling once the eggs go in. Now you don't want to start your timer until the water starts boiling again. Once the water starts boiling again, then start your 10 minutes. That's the key. That's the key to all of it, right? So I do need a spoon. I try to kind of bring you over here, so I'm not set up for recording in the kitchen. Let's see if we can get you. So there's my boiling water. Then I have a bowl of ice water over here, and then I got my eggs, and I got another dozen back behind y'all. I'm just gonna do 1 dozen at a time. So my water's boiling. Get me a spoon that I can lower these down in there with. Now these have all been washed, and they've been in the refrigerator for a few days maybe. All your eggs into your water. Apologize for the birds, they're quite annoying. As you can see, that water is still, I don't know if you can see the bottom of the pan. Like it does have the bubbles, but the water itself is not bubbling. And if you look really, really closely at your eggs, you should see like little bubbles coming from your eggs, because you're gonna have, especially after you've washed them, you're gonna get little, there's little holes, because eggs are porous, right? So, which actually I have enough room. I could probably do all 12 or all both dozens. It's fine. So obviously, the 10-5-10 method, the more eggs you're doing, it might take a little longer. So this is a little bit bigger pot, copper pot. Well, technically it's an aluminum pot. It's just copper coated. It's not 100% copper. And all my eggs are laying down nice and flat, so you can tell that they're nice and fresh. Now obviously if you have an egg that kind of goes down to the water and then stands up, it's not so fresh. If it floats, you don't want it. That's not a good egg. But all mine are laying down nice, and it left me a 5, so I'll have to do 5 later. Alright, so we're gonna get this going. Be able to, once it's boiling, once the water starts boiling again, then I'm going to start my 10 minutes. So I guess I'm going to edit this one for y'all, and we'll bring you right back. Because see, like I said, it's been 3 minutes later, and it's still not boiling. So the more eggs you're cooking with this, the longer it will take. So a lot of times when folks are doing this 10-5-10 method, they put the eggs into the water because the water was boiling, and then they start their 10 minutes. And then whenever that 10 minutes is done, the eggs aren't cooked all the way. So you have to wait for the water to start boiling again. So here we are, 4 minutes, and I have it on high. And I can see that a few of my eggs do have a crack in it, which is fine. Normally, as long as the membrane on the inside is not damaged, right? But I can already see some of my boil or water is starting to boil again. But once you actually see, decent boiling, then, so for me, it's probably going to be about 5 minutes after I've added my eggs into the water that I start my 10-minute timer. So, yeah. All right. Be back in a sec. Okay, so there we go. I'm roughly at 6 minutes in. Since I've put the eggs into the water, now I'm starting to get boil to where now my water is a standard rapid. I mean, it's not rapid, but it is a steady boil. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to my timer, do my 10 minutes. And right now I do have my stove on high, but I would probably go ahead and knock it down to a 6, which is still high. Because you don't need it to be a rapid boil, you just need it to be a steady boil, right? And we'll come back in 10 minutes. Alright, here we are. You see my water still steadily boiling. I still got 4.5 minutes left. And I actually got the thinking, as my mom would say, got the thunking that, hey, I haven't said a Navy story in a little bit. I think I did one last week. I've slept since then, I don't remember. But anyway, it's actually one of the times that I had went to Bahrain. Was it in Bahrain? Yes, I do believe it is in Bahrain. So, because they do tours, right? Anytime that you go places, for the most part, obviously, if we're at war or whatnot, or we're doing stuff, you don't really get a chance to go anywhere because you're stuck on the ship all day, right? Doing war stuff. So, for me, I was always, for the most part, on Gator Navy. So, what that means is we were basically a glorified taxi for all the Marines. And one of the deployments that we had went on, we were gone for 11 months. It's 312 days, I think. 312 is 311 or 312 days. A long time. Is the longest deployment in history since World War II, I believe, give or take. And yeah, I mean, everybody that was there the entire time, got a section of it because they fly a flag, right? It's a really long flag at the end of deployment as you're coming home. So it's 1 foot for every person that was on board, stationed on board during the entire event. And then however long that is, they fly that flag. And then at the end of it, right, they take a section of those, they take a 1 foot section of that flag and then present it to every single person that was there the whole time. I was there the whole time. I do have that. It will be going into my studio at some point. But yeah, the Bahrain thing, whenever we were there, I'm pretty certain that it was, I can't remember if it was there or Jordan. But anyway, it was one of the folks, or it was one of the tours that you can go on. And, they do camel riding. You get to go to like a bakery. You get to go see the very first oil well that was ever dug or drilled. And then you get to go to the tree. They call it the Tree of Life. I'm like, all right, cool. Which I'm pretty sure is in Bahrain. And, well, what's weird about that is you get to going, right? And for one, you're on this really small bus that, they basically fill everybody in from the back because they have a seat that folds down in the aisleway and have folks sit in it, right? So if anything ever happens in this bus, you're not getting out quickly because the aisleway is also taken up with seats. So anyway, we get to going, and you're traveling out, and you're going doing stuff. And I think we went to the farm first with the camels. Well, you'll see movies and stuff like that. Like we just watched the first Mummy again last night. Kind of go back, watch some classics. And then all their camels had the nice saddles like up in the front of the hump and everything, and it's like all really comfortable, and like they were like even sleeping in the camel and stuff like that, right? And I was like, oh no, that's not how it was for us. They actually had, it was the single humped camel that you rode, but it was a little tiny like triangle shaped, literally probably about this big, triangle shaped saddle that was on the backside of the camel behind the hump, and that they would have the camel kind of get down and you would get up there and then be able to sit down, and then as the camel's rising up, right, it rises up in the front and then in the back, so you're like having to hold on and then like come up like that, right? Well, first off, that saddle is not comfortable for anybody, especially men, because once that camel comes up, all right, so timer just went off. That was my first 10 minutes. So with this, now I'm going to take my eggs, take them off of the heat. So I just went ahead and just moved them to the back, take them off of my heat. Now they're going to sit there for an additional 5 minutes. So that's the 10-5. So now they'll sit there in the hot water for 5 minutes. Right? And then the other 10, we'll put it into the ice water to cool it down. All right, so yeah, once we were up on the camel and riding on that saddle, it was really, really small. Basically, your family jewels were rubbing up against the backbone of the camel. So no, it was not very comfortable at all. So that was stop one, and we're like, all right, cool. Well, it wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be, and I know you guys are kind of like crooked. Hey, I haven't really had it. Look, this is my coffee cup. I don't know if you can see how much is still in there. That's all the coffee I've had so far. I haven't had any. I think like 2 sips. So, anyway, next up, we go out to the Tree of Life, right? It's like, oh, it's a Tree of Life. It's like this really cool thing that, they're probably going to have, fence around it, and it's going to be, like a sacred spot and everything. No, you get out to this tree, it's not sacred at all. It's basically a tree in the middle of the desert, nothing else around it, that looks like it's dying, because it is a rite of passage type thing, to where whenever, I guess, a kid or a teen or a preteen or whatever comes to like a certain age, they go out and they tag this tree with spray paint. So as we were out there were kids out there tagging this tree. Like the whole trunk, branches, everything, right? Going out there tagging this tree with spray paint. No fence, no nothing. But basically, people just drive straight up to it, spray stuff on it, and then leave. Tree of Life. Like, what the heck? Wow. I was like, that's kind of crazy. So, then next up, right, it's supposed to be the very first oil rig, whatnot, which you think, if they're using it as a place to go see for like museum purposes or different things, that they would have a bunch of stuff going on with it and everything. No, it was literally just like a couple cement, like it was fenced off where no one can mess with it, but it was just a couple cement blocks with like an iron drill rod still sticking out of the ground, and then that was it. There was nothing there. There's dirt, concrete, a fence, and the drill rod still sticking out of the ground. Nothing. And it was like at an angle like that, sticking out of the ground. It wasn't straight up and down. I was like, oh, all right, cool. And then obviously we get to the bakery, and because it was a place like that was doing like clay type stuff, making pots and doing different things. And then there was also a bakery where you can buy the bread. That spot was actually pretty cool. It didn't make up for what we had to pay for this tour to go see all these things. But yeah, we get out there, and for one, it's the type of bread. So I don't know if you've ever seen to where they have like these really huge clay ovens, and then they have someone that goes inside the oven from the top, and they're kind of taking dough that's on a wood thing that's kind of strapped to their hand, and they go and they stick it on the inside of this oven, and then another guy with like a hooked stick goes in there and scrapes them out and comes out, and then that's how you get your bread. Some of the best bread that I wouldn't say I've ever had in my life, but it's definitely in the top three. Definitely in the top three. So it was actually really, really, really good. So yeah. Now, all right. So I think I'm gonna stick with this amount of eggs. Yeah, that's basically the end of that story. I guess I didn't really conclude. So yeah, after that, I still went on a few other tours on a few different places, but I made sure that I kind of double checked some stuff before doing any of the tours, because yeah, I wasn't digging on that one. Plus, during that time, the majority of my marriage, it was my first marriage, and it was to a person that was not very nice, and no fault to my own, but yeah, basically I had an allowance during the whole time I was gone. So yeah, I didn't really go out and do a whole lot because she was spending all my money. So don't really have a whole lot of other stories of going out and seeing things, because I didn't do that. I stayed on the ship. All right, so now my eggs have rested in my hot water. So now I'm going to transfer them over. So let's see if I can't bring you all over. So go ahead, and they're going to end up going back over the hot spot, which is fine because I'm pulling them out and get them over here into the nice cold water. It just shocks all that heat. Gets everything to shrink back down again, right? Heat expands, cold water contracts. It's not going to be able to shrink down a whole lot because now the egg is hard on the inside. Make sure that they're covered. I might need to throw some more ice than that. So let me get some more ice quick. Got at least another. Woo, making a mess. That came out of there a little faster than I wanted it to. That's fine, I'll clean that up later. But ice water, now the 10-5-10. Now you do 10 minutes in cold water. Boom. So we'll see you in 10. All right, here we go. Different change of scenery a little bit. Now, obviously, as you notice, my timer is about to go off, but you will see, stuff like, right? You're gonna get, especially if you drop stuff like I did. That's what happened to this. That's fine. Just keep it in your water, and then you'll have other ones, kind of like this. Just will have like little dents in it, and then so let's go ahead and turn that timer off. All right, and then ones like what I talked about will have cracks, right? So you'll see the crack in it. That's fine. So let's see kind of how well these turned out. So the one that I already broke, look. And I'll bring you in for another one. Just kind of see. But look how clean that comes out. All right, so let's bring you in a little closer, and let's show you one real time as I'm breaking it open. All right, gotta pause you. All right, I think you can see it a little bit better right there. So I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna show you one. Does not have any cracks, any dents in it. Just got a few little bumps and cuts. And normally these, if you don't do it right, it just sticks. It doesn't want to come out of the shell. And let's get all messed up. Just look how easy that's coming out. Got one little tick mark where I stuck my thumbnail in there. So, if your farm fresh eggs are still sticking to the shell when you're trying to do the 10, see that one just came right out. Trying to do the 10-5-10 method, that's what you're doing wrong. You're not letting your water boil before starting your first 10 minutes. All right, and with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and sit down. This is my breakfast. I have not eaten yet. The kiddo had cereal, and yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy my day because it's another rainy day. We're gonna let that mud go away before getting back out to working on any other projects. So leave us a comment down below of what you think about the 10-5-10 method for farm fresh eggs, and let us know down in the comments as well if it's worked for you. So with that being said, get out there and think of veteran with every chance you get, not only on Veterans Day, because you never know when it's going to be their last day. And we'll see you tomorrow.